Hello YouTube! This is going to be your video tutorial on replacing your 15 by 6 inch LED LCD screen on a Gateway NV55S02u version. So as you can see, the first step you want to do is take out the battery. There's a little yellow orange button you push, slide it to the right and it'll pop right out. Took me a while to figure that out. And your next step is going to be removing 26 tiny little screws on the bottom of the PC. This allows you to unmount the keyboard and unplug the power switch and disconnect the keypad. As you can see, this is a time-consuming process. It took me about an hour and a half. That was because I replaced the screen and I had to take it apart and reconnect the screen. So you want to make sure and do this right. Just take your time, don't get frustrated, just one screw at a time. And the total completion should only take about an hour if you do it right. So now in order to get the keypad out, you gotta pop it out of place. It's lodged in all around the bottom part, and once it's out, there are two connectors you gotta disconnect. This will open up the next phase to dismount the screen case. I didn't know what I was doing, so I took off the whole screen. If you guys are doing it on the NV55S02u, you won't need to go through this process. I'm showing you just because you could learn from my mistakes. You don't need to take off the screen. If you do disconnect the screen, just mount it right back on. So this would be a good time to let you know, do not take off the 8 little rubber bumpers on the screen. There are no screws under there, so you just be wasting your time. Yeah, now comes the fun part. You're gonna need a sharp tool. I just used a kitchen knife, and there are two tiny little covers on the bottom of each corner. You just gotta pop those out and stick it right back to it so you don't lose it. Those are the screw covers to make your screen look a lot more clean, professional, whatever. And this was another tricky part. You gotta weasel off the screen case. It's lodged in by clips, there's no screws, so you're gonna hear a popping sound. And just be gentle, you don't want to pop it too hard because it could break. I noticed just a tiny little piece, a few pieces cracked off. Boy, it should be no problem. It clipped back together, it worked perfect. And like I said before, just take your time. Don't use excessive force, it'll pop out. Just be gentle with it. Okay, so this is another thing you don't want to do, is take out the top screw right there on both sides. Those are screws that hold the frame into place, and if you take those out, it'll just be a dangling mess. So leave the top two in, and the only screws you need to take out are 3 screws on either side. Okay, now once the screen is loose, you gotta disconnect the webcam right there at the top. And this is where it gets real technical. You gotta remove a strip of tape that's connecting the bottom of the PC to the screen. Remove the piece of tape, and you gotta take your time. It's really stuck on there. You don't want to rip out any other wires, and there's also a piece of tape that says do not remove. leave that one alone, and it's just the tape that's right above the connection. Once you set it free, it'll pop out real easy. And now once it's off, get out your new screen that you ordered, take it out of your FedEx, UPS packaging, whatever. And right as you take out the old screen, set that one aside and fill in with the new screen. So after this, it's just all the steps in reverse. It's just as simple as that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this. I'm not a computer nerd, I'm pretty much a noob, but I could figure this out. I got this computer in January, so it's fairly new. It's a great PC. I'm having so much fun editing on it now, outside in the sunlight, enjoying the wind. Just a cool afternoon in October. And once you connect the strip in the back, that's real important. Make sure it's a solid connection. And then you fill in the 3 screws on either side and use a knife to cut off that little plastic part. It's there so you don't get your fingerprints all over it. This is when you really start to fly. This is where it becomes fun. Just put it back together from the top of the screen, then the screen case. Pop that back into place all the way around it. If one part's sticking out, it's looking kind of deformed or weird, don't worry, just put some pressure on it and it'll clip just the way you had it. And after that, you place the keypad right back on. I had a little bit of trouble on it, but it wasn't hard. Connecting the power switch, and that's where the speakers connect to on the left side, and then the big blue one on the right is to connect your letters, your keypad. And just like that, put the keypad back in, clip it in place all the way around, shut the screen, and you're on the final stretch. Put back all the screws back to where you pulled them out from, and you're almost done. Now for your last step, once all 26 screws are back in, grab your battery, pop that bad boy in, press the power switch, and voila, brand new laptop. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial.